I'm Brian Robert Oliver, and this is the Infinite Eleven's Anatomy of Horror. Tonight, we're going to talk about The Void, written and directed by Jeremy Gillespie and Stephen Kostanki. Coming up next. The Void is a cosmic horror that takes place in a small town where everyone knows each other. One night, the town's sheriff finds a bloodied, half-unconscious man wandering a desolate road, so he takes the man to the nearest hospital. Now, the hospital is where the action lies. A large group of people surround the hospital wearing what appears to be a KKK-style hooded white sheet with a pyramid on the mask. Then a father and son show up looking for revenge, and then a young woman goes into labor. Then things go full-on Lovecraft. So it's very clear these guys are really big fans of H.P. Lovecraft, as well as filmmakers Clive Barker, Stuart Gordon, and John Carpenter. This is certainly a throwback horror, and an ode to all of those icons. Now, The Void has a lot going on, and maybe too much. But let's start with the title, The Void. On one hand, the most common definition is emptiness, or empty space. But another meaning is the experience of loss, or losing someone. Of course, the main theme of The Void is loss. Every major character in the film has had their life altered by loss, and that puts them on a collision course with one another. Other themes include death, patriarchy, and groupthink. Now, symbols, or more specifically, symbol. A pyramid. Now this one is certainly on the nose, but it's really important to the story, and the meaning behind it is pretty profound. For ancient Egyptians, the pyramid was a symbol of the mound from which Earth was created. Its three corners represent the divine unity. To some, it represents both death and rebirth. In the US, there is a pyramid on our currency that represents the eye of God. All of these aspects are paramount to the film's main narrative and the character of Dr. Powell. So I found it really interesting how they emphasize this symbol throughout the film, starting with the film's opening shot. This is a great opening shot, by the way. They used either a Steadicam or some sort of gimbal, and the pacing is perfect. Notice how right away it gives you information. A body lying dead on the floor. This is a shot they sort of mimic later in the film, mind you. Then again, that perfect slow and steady pacing. So we see the pyramid on the door and we get closer and closer, and then this happens. Boom. It completely interrupts the pacing from that slow building of dread to complete panic. So without any dialogue, we know that something terrible is happening in this house. We know that there is significance to the pyramid, and we know someone is running for their life. All done on one smooth, seamless shot. So watch it again. It's somewhat sinister, the feel of this shot, and that's because it feels like the shot is calmly walking and showing you all of this horror. And notice the pacing set by the camera's movement, and then the pacing shift by the action we see on screen. Very well done. So I try to keep these as spoiler-free as possible. So I'm not going to show you what happens next, but I will show you how the scene ends, and it's really interesting. So right away, with this image, your mind goes right to the KKK, automatically associating it, or this figure, with pure evil. Not only does this person wear a white sheet, but it's illuminated by fire as if it was watching a cross burning. What's really cool is the opening shot gets repeated later in a very important scene in the second act, right here. So there it is again, the pyramid. And notice the slow zoom, which is very reminiscent of that opening shot. And I love this. We're getting pulled into the character of Daniel, linking him to the pyramid. And it's so simple and so effective. So while the pacing is a bit slower to match the current scene, it's not an accident that this is shot this way. Much like the opening scene starts us on our journey into the void, Daniel and company are about to start a new journey themselves. And notice where the pyramid winds up at the end of the shot, just like the opening shot, and then this shot. The pyramid ends up in nearly the same place in the shots. Again, this is not by accident. As you will see with the rest of the film, these guys have a firm grasp on the language of film, and aside from a few choppy sequences, which I believe had more to do with budgetary issues, this is a really well-made, fun horror film from two gentlemen who wear their love for cosmic horror and practical effects on their sleeve. The Void stars Aaron Poole, Catherine Monroe, Ellen Wong, Kenneth Welsh, Daniel Fathers, and Mike Bizkoff. Until next time.